Shalom, Haverim. Hello, friends, and welcome to week 2 of social distancing. I hope you are adjusting as well as possible. Last week, I chose not to start with a joke, but this week I'm back here at Stanton Mennonite Church, trying to make it feel a little more like it would on a regular Sunday morning. Hopefully, I don't pace too far out of the camera range. But I thought it'd be appropriate to start with just a little bit of something slightly lighter. And today's opening remarks come to us from my good friend, my main man, Mr. Crosby Carroll. Crosby, through his mother, sent me a text message this week, and Crosby wanted to know, what kind of tree can you hold in your hand? The answer is a palm tree. I'm pausing for laughter, of course. So yeah, a palm tree, which made me think even more about all that's going on. I'm wondering how many people out there, especially those of us with young children, people who are probably school age children, were planning to get away this week. In the city of Stanton, this is our spring break. So I know my family was planning to get away. We weren't going anywhere with palm trees. We were staying within the state of Virginia. Virginia's a Commonwealth. Excuse me. We were staying within the Commonwealth of Virginia, but we were going to get away for 2 nights. It was spring breaks. It is spring break, a long spring break. And there's just a sense of disappointment. Children were very saddened when we told them that they weren't going to be able to go and travel a little bit because the place we were going had a swimming pool, and that's what they were looking forward to. So we had to give that up, and we make adjustments, we change, we adapt. And it made me think of the scripture I listed in the email. I listed passage from Matthew chapter 4. The parallel can also be found in Luke chapter 4. It's a story of Jesus being tempted by the devil in the wilderness. And it's a story, you've known this one from surely for some time. Jesus goes into the wilderness. He's tempted for 40 days. He gave up food, he gave up drink, and he's able to resist these 3 major temptations from the devil. And this is the main basis for this time of year that we call Lent. Now, we have not made a big deal about Lent this year at Stanton Mennonite Church, in large part because I've been working through the Sermon on the Mount. I've had this sermon series going for a couple months. So when Lent began, we just didn't make a big deal about it. But Lent's been going on for a couple of weeks now. I think this would be the week 3, Sunday 3 of Lent. So Lent is 40 days leading up to Easter, not counting Sunday mornings. So often people in the church will give up something for 40 days. They give up things like sweets or sugar, desserts. They give up maybe going to a restaurant. People give up various things. It's a way to better connect with God, better connect with others. Some churches, some traditions, they give up meat for a period of time, give up meat on Fridays, things of that nature, for 40 days, all because Jesus gave up a lot of things for us. So the more I got thinking about this 40-day fast that we call Lent, I also saw somebody that posted on Facebook or some other form of social media. They said, I never expected to give up this much for Lent. And of course, they were referencing the COVID-19, the coronavirus, the novel coronavirus that we're all hearing about in the news now. But when we think about what Jesus gave up a lot just to be here among us. And often when we talk about Jesus giving up something, we focus on the cross. And I think absolutely Jesus gave up his physical life here on earth for our well-being. But also remember passages like Philippians 2, which talks about how Jesus, who was with God in heaven, who was God in heaven, emptied himself, the kenotic kind of teaching. He emptied himself of this full deity, this full being of God. I should back up. He didn't actually stop being God, but I'm getting theological. But he didn't hesitate to give up a lot just to be here with us, to teach us the way, to teach us how to follow God perfectly. So we think about all that Jesus gave up for us, really the things that we're giving up, a vacation, a trip, it's hard to give up. It's challenging, but really it pales in comparison. So Jesus made a lot of sacrifices for us, and likewise, we are now making sacrifices for one another. For the last couple of weeks, we have not been dining in restaurants, but you can get carry out. Got a big tub of popcorn from the Visualite movie theater the other day. We've given up eating in restaurants. We've given up going to movies. We've given up going to church. We've given up spending time together with one another. Anytime there's groups of 10 or more, we're supposed to disperse. You're not supposed to meet in that size of a group. So we've lost a lot of social interactions. We've given up the things that we've enjoyed for so many years. We have, like Jesus, given up for one another. And this got me thinking this week about a book that I've referenced many times in Sunday morning sermons. It's a book by the recently deceased author Rachel Held Evans. Rachel Held Evans, author of several books, but one of her most impactful books, one that probably has made the biggest impact on me. It's a very well written book. It's called A Year of Biblical Womanhood. And in this book, she tries to practice some of the teachings in the Old Testament, especially, and live them out very literally. And it's not meant to make fun of religious people. She is or was herself a Christian, but just to get a sense of how other people live. And one of the chapters is designated to living clean by Old Testament standards, the kosher laws. I don't know why I did the finger quotes, but I did. Living out these kosher laws. And included in that is a passage in Leviticus 15. And I should warn you, this is maybe not exactly PG. It gets a little PG-13 here. Children may ask questions. But a passage in Leviticus 15 talks about when a woman gets her period, how she is ceremonially unclean for a period of time. So it's not exactly clear in the passage in Leviticus 15, but it says, I believe it's for a period of 7 days that she is unclean. She's not allowed to touch anybody. And if she touches something and somebody else touches that thing, they also are ceremonially unclean. Now, it's not exactly clear whether they are unclean for a week from the beginning of the flow of blood or 1 week after they end the flow of blood. So many people today, Orthodox Jewish people who still practice this, will say it's better to err on the side of safety, to be too cautious, to be too conservative with this teaching. So they say it's from the end of the flow of blood, you add a full week on, so this person is unclean for a period of 12 days. Now this is a practice known as the nadah in Hebrew. And I know you all want to say the Hebrew word. Go ahead and say nadah if you would like. I'll wait. Nadah simply means a separation. And even if a woman is married, if she starts the flow of blood, she begins this nadah period for 12 days. If she and her husband are in the house together, they will avoid contact. They will try to not touch one another in any way whatsoever. Rachel Held Evans sat down with an Orthodox Jewish person. She had some conversations, and this woman talked about how she wouldn't even pass him the salt and pepper shaker, because for him to take that from her, he would then become unclean himself. So for 12 days, she would sleep in a different room. They would dress and undress in different places because they didn't want to have any physical contact. They didn't want to have the temptation to touch one another in any way. And it's not just sexual contact. We're talking any kind of physical contact whatsoever is prohibited by the Torah, especially their interpretation of the Torah. So 12 days go by, no physical contact with anyone else. Makes you think about what we're going through right now. I do have some physical contact with people. I do hold my wife's hand or pick my children up. They're getting a little big for that. We hug frequently. We don't avoid contact altogether. We're trying to socially distance ourselves from other people, 6 feet. You want that halo around you. I keep singing the Beyonce song Halo as I walk through the park, and that keeps people at least 6 feet away from me as I sing for various reasons. But you want that halo 6 feet around you. But still, we don't fully understand what even these Orthodox Jewish people are going through. And they talk about how sweet it is when those 12 days are up, when they go through their ritual washing through the mikvah, and they finally get to reunite with their loved ones. So I'm thinking during this time where we are socially distancing ourselves from one another, yeah, there's a lot of sacrifices we have to make. We are sacrificing vacations, we're sacrificing communal gatherings here at church or even among friends. We're sacrificing the joys that come with going out to eat together, sitting through a movie, going to large gatherings. Oh man, we miss March Madness. March Madness was supposed to begin this week. I would love to sit down and watch a basketball game with some people, but we can't. But I'm thinking that'll make things so much sweeter when we can get back together again. And I'm hoping that we as a church can get back together. I'm being optimistic here. Maybe by Easter, we can come back together again and celebrate, greet one another, shaking of the hand, and embrace whatever it might be. Lent 2020 has been different for me already, and I'm sure it's been different for you as well. When I have given up something, I've given up something for me. But I'm not doing it for me this year. I'm giving up something for others so that others may truly live. Jesus did something quite similar. He gave up heaven to be with us, to show us how we too may truly live. May God bless you and keep you. May you stay safe. May you be well. Continue to be awesome to one another.